SuperTalkStudio.com. You'll see I got a friend with me in the studio today. Joining us is Miss Peggy Buckley. She was just named Women in Rotary Honoree for 2023, and she represents the Rotary Club of Starkville. But her and her family have been rooted there in Starkville community since, the 1940s, I think, Miss Peggy. So I had to get you in while you were in the area to sort of just share your story about community and service and sort of giving back to your hometown. So first, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So you're still getting after it after all of these years in terms of service, which I think is inspiring and it's contagious. And I think we need to see more people who still love their communities, I would say later in life or more mature in life in that way. But let's go back to the beginning, Miss Peggy. When did you and your family first start to see downtown Starkville as sort of an opportunity for entrepreneurship or business?
Well, I really grew up in Baton Rouge, and I left Baton Rouge and came there the last month in 54. And my husband opened up his first business. He was in school, but he wanted first-class merchandise, and his daddy had second-class merchandise. So his daddy says, if you want first-class merchandise, open up your own store. And he did. But downtown Starkville was small, and the Chamber of Commerce was right across the street, and Mr. T.E. Veach was in charge, and he kind of took me on as a mentor and told me about Starkville history, Starkville people, the Chamber of Commerce, and from that he just opened up a door for me to get out and find things to do in the community, and I did. I loved it.
And you hadn't stopped. What year was that?
That was 55 when we opened up in Starkville. We call it Starkville Vegas right now.
Start Vegas, yes.
From Mullins, Coach Mullins, yes.
I was going to say, over the last 50 years, Miss Peggy, you've probably really seen Starkville evolve. I can't imagine, even for me, I just visited my alma mater, which was Southern Miss there in Hattiesburg over the weekend. And just from being a student and being, removed for 10 years, the city has changed so much. The campus has changed so much. So I can't imagine what it's like watching a city literally from Main Street develop over 5 decades. Has it been cool to see highs and lows and everything in between? I'm sure.
It definitely has. And when you see the growth that comes outside of the city from which when I was there, it wasn't growing at all. There was a population of a little over 3,000, and now we're right at 30,000. So, yes, it has grown, and we've got so many subdivisions. When I came to Starkville in 1955, there was not an apartment in the city of Starkville for anybody to live. So people that came to teach didn't have a place to rent or live. They had to build a house if they wanted to live there.
So you and your late husband, Sonny, I think,
right.
You're correct, has created Mullins Department Store. Am I getting it right? How long was Mullins Department Store a fixture of downtown Starkville?
We were there for 42 years on Main Street. And it was very different then because there was an older family that had started this department store, and they wanted to sell it, and we bought it. And so Sonny wanted to build the business up like that. Sonny was very entrepreneurial in that. I bet he owned 5 or 6 places before he died because he loved buying a building and maybe putting something in it and then selling it.
Well, y'all didn't sell that until at least for several decades, and you really bought into the community and the Main Street. We talk often here, Miss Peggy, on Good Things about the good people on our main streets, and then our Main Street associations, and then the Rotaries who sort of buy into that. And when you hear the stories, like your family who's been there for 40 years, it's true. The people who own those businesses really are invested in what's best for the community. You've seen that firsthand, huh?
True. In fact, when we opened up our store, I was the youngest person on Main Street because most people were in their 40s or 50s, and it was very interesting because people would look and say, look, she's young, and that was interesting to me. But I loved being in business. I really did, and I loved it when we bought the department store. We opened up an East Main Plaza, which was a little bit out of town before we opened up Mullins Department Store, but it was exciting working with the growth of Starkville. It was phenomenal, really.
And you've seen the growth, too, of Mississippi State and all of the campus that sort of have blossomed sort of around. Now, if we're not familiar with Starkville as a town, where is Main Street sort of in junction with the campus? Is it several blocks away? Is it sort of adjacent?
It's about 1.5 miles away if you go straight from Main Street into University. And there are a lot of other ways that you can get there, and they work for people to get out when there are games and whatnot. And they've put a lot of new roads into Mississippi State so that cars can get out faster from the games when they come.
So let's talk behind the scenes because, again, deep into the Rotary, I know you're also within the Main Street Association and the other great organizations that work to sort of build Starkville up. Why was that so important to you, and then still important to you to continue to be doing that when everyone could say you deserve to retire, Miss Peggy, and kick your feet up and just enjoy Starkville as sort of a bypasser instead of a cheerleader?
I don't think I ever thought about stopping ever, and I never thought about my age being a problem with it. There were so many things that you could do in Starkville for what needed to be done. We lost the Main Street program one time when the city decided not to go into it, but we picked it right back up. That was a great organization for the strength of Starkville. The chamber is excellent. The partnership is what they call it now. But there were so many things in Starkville that you could participate in that would help the city, and I loved that.
So you probably got a lot of business owners listening to good things, hopefully they do, who maybe aren't as invested in service in terms of either Rotary or their partnership or chamber or Main Street. What would you say they're missing out on in being that extension into their community?
Well, I can't remember people who did that. Most people did participate somewhat. Of course, there are always people who don't care for that, but a lot of people did participate in the organizations and in the town parts. Because I started back the Christmas parade back in the 60s because they had stopped it. And the businesses were really behind me in getting that going again. And they did participate if you ask them, and they were good at participating in whatever was going on, whatever project was going on. We worked hard to get Mississippi State to come back to the Christmas parade because the first year they didn't want to play. And so the next year I think they came in, and that was exciting for us because we really wanted them to come, and we were small and we needed another band, and that was great.
And that Christmas parade has grown over the years.
Oh, it has. Yeah. It really has.
And so has the downtown, and so has just Starkville in general. And I think it's just, a picture of so many other town stories, too, which was dedicated entrepreneurs who saw the benefit of being, a storefront there in their community and then invested back in it. And you vested, too, in Rotary of Starkville. I know the Rotary is who just nominated you or honored you as Women in Rotary of 2023. What was it that drew you to the Rotary Club of Starkville? Just did it fall in line with everything else that you were already doing?
Well, I never really thought the Rotary Club was a men's club to me, and I thought that was really just for men. But when I was taken into the Rotary Club, I was excited about it because there weren't any. I think it was the second year that I went in, and there weren't many women in it, so we didn't take a foot forward over the men when we first came in. But I worked with a membership in Rotary, and I loved working with the membership, and I worked with it a whole lot. And I increased membership to 204 members before the pandemic. Loved working with membership. I really did. But I loved working with the honors that we had and awards that we gave to other people. One of my friends in Rotary and I started Rookie of the Year because we thought we needed to give an award to young people so that they would think we weren't just an old club. But I enjoyed Rotary the way I did. But women weren't really pushy when they went on. But they're very active in that club right now.
They are, and I think Ms. Barbara, when she joined us here on Good Things, shared that the highest leadership in the Rotary right now, international, is the first woman. Am I getting that correctly?
That's true.
Which I think is super exciting. What's next for you, Miss Peggy?
I don't know. Right now, I'm at the Claiborne, and I'm working on a directory for all of our people so that they will know who they are because some of them have been there a while, but we've never had a directory. So we're writing little bios about everybody, and we're fixing to put that together. But I'm very active in the Claiborne. I didn't know whether I would like being there, but I am there now, and I've really become interested in doing activities with that.
Well, like I said, it's inspiring to see your love of Starkville over the last, even though it's not birth home, I think they call you family by now, Miss Peggy.
Yes, I've been there so long.
And to your family just sort of vested there in Starkville and your commitment to service. So again, congratulations, and don't ever stop. And what would be like a little nugget of downtown Starkville that nobody might know about?
Well, I've always told people about a bridge. We had a railroad track that came across in between Main Street and University Drive, and there was no way you could go straight out to the university. And the railroad moved their rails from that, and they built a bridge in 1920 for the 1920 World's Fair in Chicago. And this bridge was their exhibit, but they built it to go and make Main Street and University Drive one way. And a lot of people don't really realize that, but after that they brought that one bridge down to Starkville and united Main Street and University Drive for the first time, an easy way to go to the university.
Well, that's an easy way to go out. Miss Peggy, thank you so much for your time. You guys stick with us. We got more for you coming up next.